Good morning, church family. It is so good to be back. I missed you guys. Let's see, we have the place assessment still going on. If you want to participate in that, see Jason for more information. If you want to take advantage of the Right Now media through BCC, you can scan this code. I think there might be one on the bulletin board back there to get you hooked into that. And save the date. Labor Day picnic at the end of this month. Can you believe it? It feels like we just had the Memorial Day picnic. So, how many want to do a food contest like we did before? All right, I guess we'll get back to you on that. The Acts 2 dinner that we were doing the second Thursday of each month, that has been canceled until further notice. Back to school bingo today. Following church, everyone can play. Lunch will be served. Nothing fancy, but it'll fill your tummy. Growing Together, Thursday, August 7th, 6 o'clock in the gray room right inside the back door. On Friday, August the 8th, there will be a service for Ken Plummer, and they're having it at the Elks Club. And I have been asked if we could help provide desserts for that. She's got the food covered, but you know, nobody can top Bay Country Church on their baked goods. So if you could help Michelle out with that, it would be awesome. If you have any questions or concerns, see Michelle. She's joined us today. So the fire and fellowship at the Adams is suspended until further notice. 12-step meeting Sunday at 6 p.m., Monday and Tuesday 7 p.m., and Friday and Saturday at 8 p.m. Are you ready for some football? Yeah, we don't know if we are or not. Haven't heard anything about our portion of it for the game, the meal before the game, but apparently Nathan's got faith for the concession stand. Well, we just haven't heard anything from anybody. Okay, so, and I think that's about it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, so I believe Gene wants to come up and give a little announcement.
I just want to say thank you to whoever's been filling in for me on taking care of the lawn maintenance out here. It's been a really busy summer for us, and things have happened that has restricted me from this. I'm back in town, taking over.
Thanks. Yeah, Gene's been doing that for, gosh, I don't know how many years now. Cutting the grass, doesn't get paid a dime, volunteers, comes out, has it looking great every week, so we're thankful for that. All right, so again, this morning's gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna start off, I believe Nathan and Carrie Ann are gonna be coming up to share about their trip, the missions trip. We had several people from Bay Country that went, if you're not aware of this, to an Appalachian Service Project and did that, and I'm eager to see the pictures and hear some of the stories and testimonies as well, so they're gonna come on up and share with us.
You want me using this one? Okay. You want me to get started, Nathan, while you're figuring stuff out? Okay. So this was our team, besides Nathan, who will be up here in a little bit. Let me just tell you a little bit about what we did. We left here super early on a Sunday morning. We drove 8 hours all the way through the state of Virginia. It's a very long state. To the other side, we were in a town called Wise, Virginia, which is few minutes from the Kentucky border, and then if you go the other way, a few minutes from the Tennessee border. So we were like all the way in that corner of Virginia. We got there about 5 o'clock. None of us had ever done this before. We had no clue what to expect. ASP tries to help you with telling you what things to pack and things like that. We knew we were going to have shared living quarters, but we didn't really know what that meant until we get there. The center where they placed us was a church, and it's all run by college kids, which they're cute. And so they help us unpack our stuff. And the women, okay, Nathan's on his own, and he finds this really cool little alcove to set up his spot. The women were in a racquetball court with 20 other women. And so that's our introduction. And I think all of them were ready to go home at that point. We're like, we quit. This is not what we signed up for. The week took a sudden turn. We had been told, okay, so this is how ASP works. It stands for Appalachia Service Project. They service 5 states, all in the Appalachian Mountain region, okay? So we got assigned Virginia. It's the mountains, okay, mountain people. And we didn't know what to expect as far as our project, but ASP's mission is they believe everybody has a right to a home that is warm, safe, and dry. And so their projects are all geared towards that, whatever these people need. If it is a new roof, if it is a handicap ramp built, whatever they need. We had been told 2 days prior to the trip that we were going to be building a ramp. And we were very excited about building a ramp because a ramp was in our wheelhouse. We could do a ramp. When we got there, we unpacked all of our stuff in those lovely facilities. We ate dinner, and then they said that we had to have a leader meeting. Me and Nathan are the leaders, so we go to this meeting with these college kids, and they hand us a binder about our family, the family we're going to be serving for the week. And they said, you know, flip through it and you'll see your project. You'll see what you're doing. And I'm fully expecting to see the words ramp. And we flipped through, and I showed the book to Nathan, and I still wish I had a video of Nathan's face. Because nowhere in our work order for the week was the word ramp. It was lots of words we did not know. We didn't know lots of words. The first words we saw were girder. I didn't know what that was. I looked at Nathan. Nathan's like, I don't know what that is or where that is or what purpose it serves. We don't know. I looked at the college kid who was running the show, and I said, this isn't right? so this isn't right? And he said, oh no, that's what you guys are gonna do. And I said, we can't. I was like, there are 7 of us, 6 of which are women, 3 of which are teenagers. We can't. And he said, I have faith in you. And I was like, that is great. That is great that you have faith in us. But seriously, we can't. So he hands us another book that was called The Construction Manual. And I go out to visit the home. Olivia and I took a ride out to actually visit and meet the lady who lived in the mobile home that we were going to be working on for the week. When the girl opened, so I learned a girder is under the house, okay? So when she opens up the crawl space and I was horrified. I was horrified, okay? It is dirty, cobwebs. I couldn't even go there. I was thinking it, but I couldn't go there with the snakes. The cobwebs were just, and I am just, again, if I'd given them the choice, I think we would have gotten in our vehicles and just returned. This is where I sent Nathan a message and I said, Nathan, I'm actually really impressed with this book. It reads like a recipe. They literally told us, you cut a piece of wood this length, then this is what you do to it, this is what you, that's how it read. And so I sent Nathan a message, I was like, I think we can do this. I think we could do this. Nathan said, I'm telling you right now, tell him we need Tyvek suits. We're not going under there. So I told the girl, I said, get us some Tyvek suits because we need that. And this is where I feel like the Holy Spirit really took over, because I went to bed that night, okay? People were snoring. There was a fan. There's towels hung up everywhere. And I went to bed that night and I woke up the next morning and I just had this list in my head of other things I needed to ask them for so that we could get this job done. I don't know how to do this stuff, okay? But I just had this list in my head. So I went to the little tool shed and I told the girl, I need blup, blup, blup. And she gave us everything we needed. We got out there. We look at our construction manual. Our construction manual and our book, and we start. Nathan shows these girls how to start cutting stuff and measuring stuff, and by the end of the day, we had 2 girders built, a 6-foot one and an 8-foot one. We didn't even know 24 hours before what that was, and we did it. And that was the whole week. It was like 3 days in, we had done the girders, we had dug the holes for the girders, because that was the other thing. We had to dig holes for cement under the house. Yeah, which was interesting. But all of these people on the stage got under that house, all of us. And let me tell you, first day, we got Tyvek suit, mask. By the 3rd day, we don't have no suit. We're just under there. You don't care at that point. You're like, we gotta get this done. But I have been out of the country on 3 missions trips now. This would be my 4th one, the only one I've ever done in the country. This was by far the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. And I have been to Africa, I've been to Haiti, I have been through earthquakes. This was harder. Not in the sense of worried about my personal safety, but in the sense that I had to dig deep to find what I needed to get this job done, because it was hard and we were uncomfortable and we didn't sleep well and we were starving and it just, it was just hard. But I am so proud of this team. I said we were the guinea pigs because we didn't know what to expect. We did not know what to expect. These people showed up, and we did it, and we did it all together. We were problem solving out there. We didn't know what we were doing, but we were getting it done, and I could not have asked for a better group of people to go with and live through that with, and be under that house with. It was just amazing. It absolutely was amazing. So I'm gonna shut up now, and does anybody else wanna share anything? Liv, you wanna?
Good morning. Oh. I'm grateful for the chance to share about my experience at the missions trip to Appalachia. Initially, I was hesitant and only went because my mom encouraged me to go. But now I'm so thankful that she did. The trip was full of unexpected challenges and new experiences. I found myself working under houses, getting dirty, and spending a lot of time outside, things I ordinarily wouldn't do. The living conditions were tough, but it was all worth it. Through this experience, God taught me that it's okay not to know everything and to step out of my comfort zone. He showed me that growth happens outside of our comfort zones, and that's okay, and it's okay to face the unknown. I'm deeply grateful for this opportunity and for the lessons I learned. I encourage all of us to embrace new experiences, even when they're outside of our comfort zone.
So I actually just wanted to say something about in our group message. I remember something you and Nathan were texting back to us. And when we went there, we absolutely had no idea what we were getting into. The food was bad. The showers, we forgot to say. The showers, we had a hose. We showered with a hose. And that was in a little covered room. There were 3 showers to 20 women. So it was just challenges. But one thing that Carrie Ann and Nathan were going back talking about was that we went there. The only thing we went there with was availability to God, and He did the rest. And we totally saw that. I mean, we were available to Him, and He just, every day, we woke up, we did what we had to do, and we just made it. And it was by His grace. We gave Him our availability, and He did everything else. And we truly saw that.
Jean, do you want to say anything?
I really don't like to speak, y'all. But praise the Lord, church. I just want to say that if you have doubts within your body, mine is just a little different than theirs because a lot of people don't know what I go through. And I suffer from chronic pain. And before I went, I had a procedure done. And I was like, I'm not for sure if I was going to be able to go. It was only 2 weeks before this trip. And I'm like, but I said I was going, and I like to keep my word. And I'm like, I was talking to Melissa one time, and I was like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, I know I can do some hard work. I love doing hard work, but it's on my time and when I can stop. So I'm like, God, I don't know. Am I going to let these people down? I don't know. But I had faith, and I went. But I thought we were going to build a ramp. So when they first said that, I looked at Nathan. I said, do y'all want to fire me now? He said, no, we need everybody. But I was trying to put in my head, how is this body of mine is going to make it? And the first day I said, I'm definitely not going underneath the house. I'm like, I'm not going underneath the house. Yes. But then that night, I knew it was nothing but God that told me to go underneath of that house. And I just thank God because when I heard we had chores afterwards, and it was hard work all day. I was doing things that I didn't even suppose to do. But I thank God because the only reason why I'm saying this is because somebody might think they're not able to do it. So the next time that they have a missions trip, even if you cannot do it the way the others do it, they still need you. And that's the way I had to look at it. Because one night I thought I failed because I really had to go to my little cot and take my pill, and I did not do a chore. And I'm sorry about that, but I couldn't make it. But through it all, I made it. I was underneath the house, and I was with these beautiful people, and I got to know them more, and we showed each other love and respect. I just thank God for the experience. It was very interesting and rewarding, and I thank you all. And I love Bay Country. If y'all don't know, I love y'all. I really do. I really love y'all. If y'all ever need me, y'all might not see me much, but if y'all ever need me, I'm here. I love y'all.
And one thing I want to say about going under the house, I wasn't going to go under the house, and I kept saying, Heavenly hasn't went under, and maybe Nathan's not going to make us because we're the oldest of the group. And then Heavenly said she was going under, and I was like, great, now I have to go under too. But I was glad I did. Just don't ask me to go in your crawl space anytime soon.
Nathan, do you want to say anything? Talk about the hot water heater.
Oh, yeah. So all their problems started from a leaking hot water heater that was directly above all the structural damage that had been done. So they started early, I guess 5 weeks ago, repairing the flooring and everything else, but they never took out the hot water heater. So it's okay, because we purchased them a new hot water heater. They installed it, I guess, a week later, yeah, the last team of the summer installed the hot water heater. So all that work that everybody has done will now stay, and we don't have to concern ourselves with it falling apart again. So thank you, because y'all's change pay for a hot water heater for this young lady because she desperately needed it. So, but in the spirit of all this, the ladies have done it well. They've said it all. We're doing this again next year. And the word is willingness. We brought nothing to the table but 7 bodies, and that was it. If you're willing to live uncomfortably for a week, you're willing to put up with some hotness, some stink, because everybody stinks at the end of the day. If you're willing to just swing a hammer. Now, we did eat good during lunch, because I went and made sure we ate good lunch, because that's our lunch. The stuff they gave us was horrendous. But if you're willing to allow God to use you in a new manner, not your old manner, the things that you normally do, something different, it is well worth it. So we're going to do it again next year, and we're hoping to take a larger team next year, because we realize with a small team, we can work miracles. With a large team, we can move mountains. I want to move a mountain, literally. But I'm going to rely on y'all, because we're going to need y'all to go with us. So think about it, because if next year is the summertime, again next year, we're going to make the simplest. Who's the busiest? All right, so, and I would like to see us be able to do this multiple times a year, because there's enough of us to go multiple times a year. So let's move some mountains next year. We've done it, and you can see our motley crew. You can see us posing in our picture. That was day 1. We did not look like that on day 5. So, but it was a fantastic, fantastic trip. And I would love for everybody that is able to experience it. So, and that's it. I think we'll wrap it up there.
So, yeah, let me touch on the hot water heater for a second, because I don't want to make it sound like ASP is just irresponsible, but they're not. So the project this summer, they plan it out for all 6 weeks that they're going to have volunteers. Okay, so each week, but they have not done a full inspection of this house. So really, week 1 is the team that really uncovers a lot of problems, right? They go in with one problem that they're gonna tackle, and when they pull back that subflooring and they see, oh, there's more issues here. And that just kind of builds as the summer goes. So it's not that ASP is irresponsible and they were just gonna do all this work. They have limited funds to do limited things, and they're not really in the habit of replacing people's appliances. That's not part of the warmer, safer, drier thing. And so when Nathan asked them, well, what's the plan for the hot water heater? They said, it's not in the budget. Like, we don't have the money. And it was one phone call to the board to say, do we have $500 that we can make a donation to ASP? We earmarked it for the hot water heater for the specific house, so we know the money went there. The other thing I wanted to say about a trip next year, this was our first time. We were the only team that was there for the first time. There was a team there from Wisconsin their church has sent a team to serve with ASP consecutively every year for the last 19 years. There's something to this organization. Churches don't do things like that, long-term like that. There's something to this organization when churches, this is just what they do. It's just assumed every year they're gonna send a team. Our church used to be a going church all the time. If you've been here for any length of time, you know that. I feel like the last couple years we've been ascending church. We've been really good, and we've been doing things in our community. I think ASP is a great opportunity for us to be a going church again. It's low entry. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but you're not supposed to be comfortable. And you just can't beat the outcome that you get. These kids will never forget that, you know? They'll never forget being under that house and doing something that they thought was extremely hard and doing it anyway and surviving. Like that's just something they're not gonna forget that, and neither will we. So thank you guys all for your support. You will see us start fundraising again soon because we want to get a jump on things. And yeah, when we know information about when and where, we'll let you know. If you want to go, please go. Thank you. So there's no upper age limit, but for kids, they can be 11, but they have to have completed 6th grade. So.
Just curious, I know you guys touched on it a little bit, but did any one of you guys want to share, like, personally the impact that it had on you? Anybody want to share that? I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but I know Liv touched on it some with sort of what she got out of it, but. Yeah.
For me, I feel like it made me value just some things that, you know, we didn't have when we were there. Like, you know, you look at the way some of these people live, and it does make you appreciate it. It was humbling. I feel like it was a very humbling experience. And you just look at that. So it was humbling for me, made me value the things that God has given me and appreciate them even more. And just being able to help. I mean, going in there knowing that, I think the one thing that we found all regret was we didn't get to connect with our homeowner quite like we wanted to, because some of the other groups were able to, at the end of the week, we shared on the Friday night, and a lot of them were able to connect with their homeowners. But we felt like we made a difference. I feel like we made a difference in her life. We took some weight off of her shoulders. She has a safe home. The floor's not going to cave in. The wall's not going to fall. I mean, when we took out the banjoists, you know, underneath there, if you could see the rotting, that, you know, we really made that home much safer for her. As far as connecting with her, we tried. I know every time we went in, like, she had a dog. And I do remember, I do wish that we could have gotten set and chatted with her more. And, you know, and felt her life out a little bit more. But she had a dog, and if you went in there to go to the bathroom, if you even looked at her, he was like just barking at you. But I feel like he was a little dog. And he was a little dog, yeah. He was on her lap. Yeah. But for me, it was very humbling and just made me really be appreciative of just the little things, just the everyday little things that we have that we forget. You know, so I think that was. Can I say one more thing, Jason?
Yeah.
Do I have to come up there? Can I say it right here?
You can say it from there. It's hard for people to hear, like, that are watching.
Oh,
It's always not, it's not great entertainment. People that are watching there are seeing me go.
Okay, so we didn't thank you, Joni, for bringing up the band joist. Do you guys know what a band joist is? Yeah, we didn't know either. So we got through the girders, okay, and the next thing on our work order was to replace the band joist. And it started using words like this: kick the house. And we're like, all this stuff. So let me tell you the second thing we had to do, okay? After we got the band joists, after we got the girders and the footers and our cement was all good, and they said that from where the hot water heater had leaked, okay? Jason, hold this for me, because I have to use my hands. Okay, so this is how a mobile home is constructed. You have a wall. Yeah, hold it right there, Nathan. You see that white part? You see that white part? That's the wall. Okay, and then we had taken it out, so you can't see it, but underneath here, there's this, we called it the skirt. I don't know if that's what it's called, but we called it the skirt, okay? Then there's this little thing, nobody knew what that was called, so we named it the belt that goes here. A little piece of metal, okay? They said, you're gonna take that belt off, okay? And behind that is gonna be a piece of wood, which was laughable because when we pulled it back, this piece of wood had huge holes all in it. So it was no longer a piece of wood. But they said, we need you to construct this thing. That's what we did there. So we had that piece of that 2x4 that runs across the top. And then we had, this is kicking the house, okay? We had to, I still can't believe we did this. We had to take a 2x4, you gotta run it down to the ground, okay? You have to then take another 2x4 and you sister them together, and that second 2x4 gets dug in the ground, okay? You have to do this because when we take that band joist off, that whole wall could fall down, okay? Guys, I looked at Nathan. I'll take this back. I looked at Nathan and I said, this is what we have to do. He said, we can't. I'm telling you, we can't. And I'm like, Nathan, we made those girders and we dug those footers. And now you're telling me we can't do this? That was how the whole experience was, guys. It was, here's this really hard thing you feel really uncomfortable doing, you feel unqualified to do, and then we did it. And then here's something that's even harder. And our minds, this is how life works, our minds have this like short-term memory loss where we forget the thing that we just did that was amazing, that God brought us through, because we have this other thing that's sitting in front of us that's super hard. And that was how the whole week went. And we did it. We got the house kicked. It's all kicked. We got that section of the band joist completed. And then the team that came in after us completed the rest of the side. So that whole side was done. And we built her a new door for her crawl space, a little bit of a better one. And yeah, that for me was the biggest takeaway, is that if you have willingness, don't ever doubt what God can do with your willingness. If you just show up, even if all you got is a tool belt and a hammer and some tools, God can do something you never even imagined you'd be capable of doing. So that's why we want to do it again, because everybody needs to, when you can experience that and you see it and you feel it and you do it with your hands, you can't buy that. You can't buy that. So anyway.
For me, it was the love for me. And just being able to serve. Because for me, I just love to serve and to be able to serve somebody else. So even though we might not got to connect, we were able to serve this person to make our house better than what it was before we came. And each piece of lumber that I picked up, I prayed for that piece of lumber that we picked up. So for me, it was just to experience all the different people that was there. And even though we might have thought we couldn't do anything, or we might have said something, even with the other groups when they came in to ask each other how was our day, but overall, it was the love and them willing to help. Them just wanting to be there to give whoever a better place to stay. That connects with my heart. Just being able to be a servant, because we're all supposed to be a servant to one another. So that's what touches me, just to be able to serve.
Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, it's so big. If you look at any of our literature, maybe in our welcome package or whatever, one of our 6 core values is service. And you may look at that and say, well, how in the world does service help you in your discipleship? Anybody that's ever served somebody else, particularly on a mission trip or something like this, finds out really, really quickly that serving other people helps us get closer to God. You know, so if you're somebody who's saying, man, I just don't know how to get closer to God, I don't know how to grow in my relationship with the Lord, one of the first things I would encourage you to do is serve other people. There is something in that just is so powerful in drawing us closer and closer to God. You know, and I needed a notepad listening to you guys. There's so many things that just stuck out to me. I was like, oh, I need to talk about that. I want to talk about that. I'm not getting to the message this morning, by the way, if you haven't figured this out. But Nathan already said it. He was like, you're getting no time today. You do understand that, right? But it's funny how God works. I mean, I'm like having a conversation with Sandra before the service and everything started, and we were talking about making decisions and what to do and how to make choices and all that kind of stuff. And we were talking about comfort. We just got done saying that so often I think as Christians we feel like God's going to give us a peace and a comfort about whatever thing we're supposed to get involved with. And I think it's misleading. Sometimes we do get a peace and a comfort about decisions we need to make, but sometimes that peace and comfort comes after. It comes after the choice. It comes after the hard road. You know, the later God gives us that peace. But the question is, are we willing to step out? Are we willing to make a choice? Are we willing to do it? You know, are we willing to serve? That word willingness has come up time and time and time again. Anybody that's a sports fan has probably heard this expression at nauseum. What's the best ability? Availability, right? That's the best ability. So sometimes we stop and we think, well, gosh, am I good at this? Am I good at that? What can I do? What do I bring to the table? What resource do I have? And we start evaluating that stuff when the first ability we need to look at is availability. Am I willing? Something that Heavenly said was she wants to do hard work, but she wants to do it when she wants to do it. Right? Is she alone in that? Man, that's the way I am all the time. I want to do awesome things for God as long as He's on my timetable. As long as He asks me when it's convenient. As long as it's something I feel comfortable doing. You know, and that's not the way that it works. The question is, am I available? Do I say, whatever you want me to do, Lord, I'll do? You know, somebody would have to look up chapter and verse and all that, but everybody has probably heard the story of Elijah, you know, when he gets this vision of heaven, when he's before the very throne of God, and God's like, who can I send? Who will go for me? And what's Elijah say? Man, here I am, I'll go, send me. Was it Isaiah? Yeah, Isaiah. Why did I say it? What did I say? Elijah, Isaiah. But the thing is, what people don't do is they don't look at the rest of that chapter, and they find out what he's called to do is to go and give this message that people are going to reject. Over and over and over and over again. He's like, hey, you're going to go and warn the people, tell the people that they're going away, they're being led astray. You're going to call them back, and guess what? They're going to constantly say no. Do you think that maybe after that he went, oh, wait, don't send me then? You're going to send me down a road that's hard? You're going to send me down a road that's difficult? Well, I don't want to go down that road then. You know, so the question becomes, are we available to God when He says to go? Whether we like it, whether it's comfortable, whether it's easy or what. You know, as they were talking, I was thinking, nobody's signing up for next year's trip. You use words like hungry. I was like, I'm out. You lost me already. Smelly. I was like, nah, I'm out.
I said we were the guinea pigs. We have some systems figured out.
You got to figure it out.
We are smarter heading into next year. Yes. Listen, we were all Sunday after the first day because our house had no shade. So what did we do? There's a Walmart in town. I got a tent for next year. We're good. Get on that front, okay? So just little things like that.
You'll get better.
We're good.
Right.
But even with that being said, if I had to do it over the same way we did it, I still would do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I've only gone on one missions trip. And can I tell you, if I just described what it was like, you would never sign up. You know, if I went and I told you the sleeping arrangements were terrible, I went in one day and my whole bed was covered with ants. They had food that I don't eat. You know, I lived off protein bars the whole time, right? It was uncomfortable, it was uphill. If I told you the stories, you'd be like, I'm not signing up for that. But if I told you it was worth it, it was worth it. And it wasn't just worth it for the people that we served, it was worth it for me and my relationship with the Lord as well. You know, and at the end of the day, that's what we're promised. We're not promised an easy road. We're not promised comfort. We're not promised happiness. We're not promised any of that kind of stuff. The promise is it's worth it. Any trade we make when it comes to our comfort, our happiness, our conveniences here in this world, any of that stuff that we lay down and give up for the Lord, what He promises is it's worth it. You know, He doesn't promise that it's going to be easy. So I think as we stop and say, Lord, what do you want me to do? How do you want me to serve? What area do you want me to be obedient in? We don't think comfort first. We don't think convenience first. We don't think any of that stuff first. We think obedience first. Lord, I want to serve you. I'm going to be obedient to what you call me to do. You know, so I guess what I would like to leave us with is this question. What is God asking you to do? What has God called you to do? What is the area of your life where you're looking at it and saying, I know that God is asking me to step out. He's asking me to respond, but you know what? It doesn't fit into my schedule. It's going to cost me financially. It's going to cost me relationally. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be difficult. What I want to encourage you is to listen to these testimonies, listen to these stories, and know that they're not saying it's going to be easy. That's not the call. But what they're saying is it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. That's the guarantee. That's the promise. And if we can set our eyes on that, put our eyes on that, I think we'll find it much easier to step out. If it's just, again, based on comfort and my schedule and all that kind of stuff, then we're not going to step out and do most of the things that God's going to ask us to do. You know? But if we're willing to say, Lord, at the end of the day, I know it's going to be worth it because you've asked me to do it, I think we will. So what are those areas?
That goes along with doesn't matter, but if you ask God to open a door for you to be a servant to someone, he'll give you all options. He will give you many, many options that will suit your schedule, but you have to make the time to do it.
Mm.
And not do something that's not really important, watching TV or, things that we could give up our time in order to be a servant. And the same blessings, I don't care if it takes you 10 minutes or 10 days or an hour, God's going to bless that as well. And it's just a daily walk that God wants us to be servants like that, like they did. They gave a week. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of arranging things to be able to do, and I commend you for it, and I'm so glad you went and represented our church, too. Thank you for doing that. But God can use us that way every day, no matter where we are.
If we're
And He
available.
wants to.
Yeah,
Yeah, available.
Yep.
Just be available and say, and what comes back is priceless.
Mm.
You can't put a monetary value on what God blesses you with because of it. It's a gift.
Yeah, and that's always the testimony. Like, do you ever hear anybody say anything other than that? That, man, it was worth it. For what I gained out of it, whatever I sacrificed was worth it. That's always the story. It's always the testimony. But it's kind of embarrassing how quickly you forget.
His love. If His love is in you, and you do it because of that, that's the blessing that comes back.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, how many times do we hear, we can't do that, I can't do that.
Let's be real.
Then,
I'm not a carpenter. The whole side of the house, literally, if we do this wrong, we could ruin her house. So I'm human, so I look at the situation like this isn't possible for us. And then God says, shut up, son, it is. I'm gonna work for you.
yeah,
And it happens, and we made it happen. Sometimes we just gotta shut up and just let him do what he's gonna do.
it's amazing to look back and see what he's done. I mean, imagine you guys have tremendous pride, and it builds your faith to look back and say, we did that. Not through our strength and power, because we never would have been able to do it, but God put us in a position to do something miraculous. Yeah, I remember I volunteered for Habitat for Humanity one time, and I went and volunteered, and I got back, and when he said, what did you do? I said, man, I installed windows today. She said, no, but what did you do? I said, I installed windows today. She said, just being present doesn't mean you installed windows. Like, man, they showed me how to do it. So she was amazed by that and said, I guess God can do anything then if He can use you to put windows in.
And see, and that's the thought broken out. Really find it was amazing. The fact we had no help. We had our Bible, and that was it. Those guys did nothing to instruct nothing. And through His revelation and Carrie Ann's faith in us, we were able to do this.
Yep, to do powerful things.
It is.
Yep.
I don't know if it was Nathan or Carrie Ann that made the construction manual, our construction Bible. So we had
Yeah.
the construction Bible, and we had prayer every morning before we started.
Mm.
And Jason, we can't let it go without, I know everybody agrees. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Nathan, because we couldn't have had better leaders. They just handled everything, so we can't go without thanking them for sure.
Yeah.
And acknowledging that.
Yeah, it's so funny how God just, again, weaves things together. So I'm having that conversation with Sandra earlier, and then God gives a similar kind of message through the testimonies today. I was just talking with Jimmy a couple of nights ago. We were just talking about leadership. Leadership. Are we willing to step out and do the thing that God's called us to do? And at the end of the day, that is a huge part of leadership. The willingness just to step out and say, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. I mean, it probably would have been really easy for Nathan and Carrie Ann to maybe think about that mission trip and then start considering, well, that means I got to give up this, and I got to take away time from this, and I got to do all this. Never mind. But to be obedient to say, I'll do it, is huge. And here's the crazy thing. I believe every single person in here, God has gifted for some reason, for some purpose to do something, for a season maybe. Right? The question is, will you be obedient to step out? Because the Lord only knows who will follow you in that and what can grow from that. I mean, wouldn't it be a beautiful testimony to hear 19 years from now, we've sent a team 19 years straight. In some churches, telling that story about our church. And we look back and we say, this is where it all started. It started with a couple of people saying, yeah, let's put it together. And a couple more people saying, I'm willing to go. You know, that's how movements get started. I remember watching this TED Talk. Anybody ever watched a TED Talk? It was How to Start a Movement, I think is what it was called. Maybe look it up and maybe you can find it. And it's this guy talking about how movements get going. And the visual that he gave was this one dude at a concert dancing in a field. And this guy's doing the most ridiculous, stupid dance you've ever seen in your life. Like, he cannot dance at all. It's just him in a field doing this crazy movement or whatever. And then before you know it, some other guy comes over, probably just a joke. He's probably like, watch me go dance with this dude. But then somebody else comes, and literally like 15 minutes later, there are 100 people out there doing this ridiculous dance and stuff, looking like a bunch of fools. But isn't that how movements get started? It takes one person that's bold enough to say, here I am, Lord, send me. I'll go. Who knows what movement God wants to start with you? Maybe it's a movement in our church. Maybe it's a movement in your household. Maybe it's a movement in your job. Maybe it's a movement in our society, in our city. But it starts with availability to say, Lord, here I am, send me. Are we willing to do that? You know, and that's going to be my big takeaway from what you guys are sharing here today. Man, am I available? What is it that God's asking me to do that my only reason for not doing it is I'm not available? You know, I've told this story so many times. When the opportunity to step in this lead pastor role came up, when Doug said, hey, I'm leaving the church, I'd like for you to step in this role. And I was like, no, obviously no. I'm not prepared for it. I'm not equipped for it. I'm not trained for it. There's nothing in my history that says I'm capable of doing this. And I prayed about it, and I felt like God simply said, are you willing to step through the open door? I'm not asking you to be qualified. I'm not asking you to be good enough. I'm not asking you to be skilled enough. I'm not asking you any of that stuff. Will you simply walk through the open door? I feel like it's the same thing God's asking us this morning. What is the area of your life? What is the thing that God is saying, I don't need you to have it figured out. I don't need all the answers. Like when Liv read that, I was like, golly day, I'm still trying to learn that lesson, Liv, that I don't need to know all the answers. But are we willing to say that, Lord? I don't need to know all the answers. I don't need to know all the steps. I don't need to know all the information. I don't have to be talented enough. I don't have to be gifted enough. I don't need to make a way. You're opening a door. Will I simply walk through it? I think it's a great challenge for us today. In what area does God just want you to simply be available and walk through the open door? Right? Let's go ahead and pray. Hopefully you made arrangements to go next door. It's not just for kids to play bingo. It's a back-to-school bingo, so we're going to be giving away school supplies and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you made arrangements to stay. But if you have grandkids, nieces, nephews, neighbors that have kids, whatever, feel free to come over if you enjoy playing bingo. Play some bingo, win some school supplies. Just drop it off at their house. All right? Pam said they're not ready yet. Tell her to get ready. No. I'm sure she was looking going, we didn't expect you to be done until 11:15 or 12:15. Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and pray, and then we'll take our time. By the time we get all the kids and get over there and all that kind of stuff, there's hot dogs and chips and drinks and all that kind of stuff too. So slip over and grab some lunch, hang out, play a little bit of bingo, win some school supplies. It'd be fun. All right, so let's go ahead and pray. Father, I'm thankful for just the willingness that you gave every single person that went on that trip. I'm certainly thankful for Nathan and Carrie Ann's willingness to lead that, to take that little spark that you had inside of them and sort of fan that into flame. It would have been really easy for them to extinguish that with anything, their schedules or things they don't know or whatever. It would have been easy for them to say, nah, forget about it. But instead they pursued it and they were obedient. And because of that, we're praying that a great movement has started, that this will be something that continues to grow and becomes a regular part of what we do here at Bay Country Church. So again, I'm thankful for their willingness and their availability and obedience to take this trip. And I'm thankful for their willingness to share with us and give their testimony about what they experienced there. And I pray that it is inspirational to us. I pray that what we hear is the power that this trip had on them and the power that it had on this homeowner as well. Help us to hear that part. Help us to not focus on, again, the negatives and the inconveniences and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, Lord, that stuff's going to come. Everything that you ask us to do is going to be probably filled with difficulties and challenges, but what you tell us is it's worth it. The road may be bumpy, but the destination is worth it. So I pray that each and every one of us will be open to whatever you have for us. There's no question in my mind that every single person here, there's an area of their lives where you're asking them to walk through an open door, where you're simply asking them to be obedient. So I pray that you would speak to every one of our hearts this morning, that we will know that this time was for us. This message was for us, and that you're looking for us to apply it to our lives. So again, Lord, we're thankful for this time today. May it be impactful in the way that we leave this place. So we love you and thank you and pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. All right. I will see you guys later on.